The Awakening. Maya Rodriguez hadn't planned on making first contact with an alien civilization during her night shift at the Metropolitan Museum of Ancient History. Her main concerns usually involved making sure teenagers didn't try to take selfies with the priceless artifacts and keeping the occasional enthusiastic archaeologist from getting too close to the exhibits. But as she stood in the newly opened Mysteries of the Ancient World wing at 2 a.m., staring at a floating spear that definitely hadn't been floating when she started her shift, she realized this would be anything but a normal night. The artifact in question had arrived 3 weeks ago, a curious spear-like object made of an unknown crystalline material that had puzzled scientists for decades. Found in an archaeological dig in the Atacama Desert, it had been dubbed the Starfall Spear due to the unusual meteoritic materials in its composition. Now, as Maya watched, it pulsed with an inner light that cast dancing shadows across the museum's marble floors. "I really should have called in sick today," Maya muttered, reaching for her radio. But before she could press the call button, the spear's glow intensified, and a voice echoed through her mind, not in words, but in sensations and images that somehow formed coherent thoughts. "Guardian." At last. Maya froze, her hand still hovering over the radio. "I'm definitely getting fired for this," she whispered, taking a tentative step toward the display case. The closer she got, the stronger the connection became, until she could feel the artifact's energy humming in perfect harmony with her own heartbeat. The security cameras would show that Maya hesitated for exactly 47 seconds before making a decision that would change human history forever. She placed her hand against the glass display case, and it dissolved like morning mist, leaving no trace of its existence. The spear hung suspended in the air before her, its crystalline surface rippling like liquid starlight. As her fingers closed around its shaft, the world exploded into light. When Maya's vision cleared, she found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast chamber carved from a single piece of opalescent stone. Before her stood a being that could only be described as humanoid in the loosest sense, tall and elegant, with skin that shifted colors like the surface of a soap bubble and eyes that held the depth of galaxies. "I am Koravar, last speaker of the Navaran High Council," the being said, its voice resonating directly in Maya's mind. "And you, Maya Rodriguez, have just answered a call we have been sending across the cosmos for over 1,000 years." Maya looked down at the spear in her hands, then back at the alien being. "I'm a security guard," she said flatly. "I make $12 an hour to tell people not to touch the exhibits. I think there's been a mistake." Koravar's expression shifted in a way that might have been a smile. "The beacon chooses its wielder with perfect clarity. You are no mistake, Maya Rodriguez. You are the bridge." "The bridge to what?" "To survival. Both yours and ours." Koravar gestured, and the chamber filled with holographic images, stars, planets, and what appeared to be massive ships moving between them. "We are the Navarans, and we have watched your species since you first looked to the stars with wonder. We placed the beacon on your world centuries ago, waiting for the one who could awaken it. Waiting for you." Maya's grip tightened on the spear as the implications began to sink in. "Why me? Why now?" "Because the Void Hunters have awakened," Koravar said grimly. "And without the unity of our peoples, neither humanity or the Navarans will survive what comes next." Before Maya could respond, alarms began blaring in both realities, the museum's security system and whatever passed for warnings in this alien chamber. Koravar's expression turned urgent. "They have found us sooner than expected. Maya Rodriguez, you must." The chamber dissolved, and Maya found herself back in the museum, alarms screaming and radio crackling with security chatter. But now she could feel them, vast presences moving in the space above Earth, hidden from human detection but burning bright in her newly awakened awareness. The spear hummed in her hands, and Maya made her second world-changing decision of the night. Instead of dropping it and running, she pulled out her phone and dialed the one person she knew who might believe her, her sister, Lieutenant Jessica Rodriguez of the United States Space Force. "Jess. Remember how you always said I needed to find a more exciting career? Maya watched as the spear's glow began to spread, forming intricate patterns of light that she somehow knew were coordinates. I think I just found one. And I'm going to need your help to save the world. Prophecy's child. 48 hours after the incident at the museum, Maya found herself in a secured briefing room at Peterson Space Force Base, surrounded by military officials and scientists who looked at her like she was either the most important person on Earth or completely insane. The Starfall spear lay on the table before her, its crystalline surface now dormant but still humming with potential that only she could feel. Lieutenant Jessica Rodriguez stood at her sister's shoulder, her Space Force uniform pristine but her eyes betraying lack of sleep. "Run through it one more time," she said, placing a supportive hand on Maya's shoulder. "The Navarans have been watching us," Maya began, her voice stronger than she felt. "They left the spear, the beacon, as a way to establish contact when humanity was ready. But something called the Void Hunters is coming, and apparently we need each other to survive." "And these coordinates you mentioned?" General Harrison leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the strange patterns the spear had projected. Maya reached for the beacon, and the room collectively held its breath. The moment her fingers touched its surface, the patterns reappeared, more detailed than before. "They're not just coordinates," she said, understanding flowing through her connection with the artifact. "They're a map of hidden Navaran outposts throughout our solar system. They've been here all along, watching, waiting." Dr. James Weber, the lead xenoarchaeologist, adjusted his glasses as he studied the projections. "The linguistic patterns match fragments we've found at dig sites across the globe. This proves theories we've had for decades about ancient alien influence on human civilization." "But why choose a museum security guard?" General Harrison voiced the question Maya had been asking herself since that night. "No offense," he added quickly. Before Maya could respond, the beacon pulsed, and Cora Var's presence filled her mind. With newfound confidence, Maya spoke words that weren't entirely her own. "The beacon doesn't care about rank or education. It responds to something deeper, a genetic marker the Navarans engineered into certain human bloodlines thousands of years ago. I'm not special, I'm just compatible." The room erupted in murmurs, but Maya wasn't finished. "And I'm not the only one. There are others like me, scattered across Earth. We need to find them before the Void Hunters do." Jessica squeezed her sister's shoulder. "How long do we have?" The answer came in another pulse of alien knowledge. 3 months. The Void Hunters move between galaxies, consuming civilizations. They've already destroyed 3 of the 4 ancient races that once helped protect our galaxy. The Navarans are the last, and they've chosen Earth as their final battleground. "Why Earth?" Dr. Weber asked, furiously taking notes. "Because humans are different," Maya replied. "The Navarans engineered something into our ancestors, not just the genetic marker, but a potential they believed might save both our species. They called it the spark." General Harrison's expression hardened. "What exactly is this spark?" Maya stood, the beacon rising with her, responding to her movements. "Creativity. Adaptability. The human ability to defy overwhelming odds and find solutions where none should exist. The Navarans are ancient and powerful, but they've become rigid, predictable. The Void Hunters destroyed the other elder races because they could anticipate their every move. But humans." She smiled. "We're chaos incarnate." The holographic display shifted, showing scenes from human history, moments where innovation and sheer determination had changed the course of events. The Navarans believe that by combining their technology with human unpredictability, we might stand a chance against an enemy that has never known defeat. "And if we refuse?" General Harrison asked. The beacon's light turned cold. "The Void Hunters will come regardless. They've detected the awakening of the beacon. Earth is now on their path of consumption. Our only choice is to stand together or die alone. Dr. Weber cleared his throat. The genetic marker you mentioned, can we test for it? We don't need to, Maya said. The beacon knows. That's why we need to move it from the museum. Take it to population centers. Let it scan for others with the potential. The Navarans called us bridge-bearers, humans capable of interfacing with their technology, of joining our two species in ways they engineered millennia ago. Jessica stepped forward. I've already drafted a preliminary plan for a mobile testing unit. We can disguise it as a traveling museum exhibit. General Harrison nodded slowly. And what happens when we find these other bridge-bearers? Maya's expression turned grim. We prepare them for war. The Void Hunters aren't just coming to destroy us, they're coming to consume everything we are, everything we might become. Our art, our music, our stories, our potential. They feed on civilizations, leaving nothing but empty husks of worlds behind them. The beacon pulsed one final time, and Maya felt Koravar's presence fade. But the knowledge remained, along with a bone-deep certainty that everything was about to change. There's something else, she said quietly. The Navarans didn't just choose Earth by chance. There's a prophecy, written in the genetic code they wove into our ancestors. It speaks of a time when the children of two worlds would rise together, wielding creativity as a weapon against the darkness between stars. She looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting to prove that the impossible is possible. That imagination and innovation can triumph over sheer force. That humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons, but our ability to look at the darkest odds and say no. We choose hope. General Harrison stood. How do we begin? Maya raised the beacon, and its light filled the room with possibilities. We find the others. We wake them up. And then? She smiled. Then we show the Void Hunters why they should have stayed in their own galaxy. Rising Storm. The Ancient Mysteries of the Cosmos traveling exhibition drew crowds wherever it went. For 2 months, Maya and her team had crisscrossed the country, the beacon hidden in plain sight among other artifacts. To the public, it was an educational showcase. To Maya, it was a fishing expedition for humanity's best hope of survival. They'd found 17 bridge-bearers so far. A high school physics teacher in Portland. A grandmother in Miami. A homeless veteran in Chicago. The beacon called to each of them differently, but their reactions were always the same, a mixture of recognition and relief, as if they'd finally found something they hadn't known they were missing. Today, they were in Austin, and Maya felt the beacon's familiar hum intensify as a young mechanic named Ray Martinez approached the display. His eyes locked onto the spear, and Maya saw the telltale flicker of awareness cross his face. "Excuse me," Ray said, his voice distant. Is it supposed to be singing?" Maya smiled and touched the communication device disguised as an earring. "Jess, we've got another one." South Hall. Within minutes, Ray was being quietly escorted to the mobile command center hidden in a modified museum truck. Maya followed, the beacon responding to her thoughts as she lifted it from its display, replaced by a convincing replica. "What's happening to me?" Ray asked as they entered the secure area. His eyes were fixed on the beacon, which had begun to glow softly. "You're waking up," Maya said. "Just like I did. Like all of us did." She gestured to where 3 other bridge-bearers were waiting, Diana Chen, a former software engineer, Marcus Webb, a literature professor, and Aisha Patel, a teenage prodigy who'd been the youngest to answer the call. Before she could explain further, the beacon flared with urgent energy. Maya's mind filled with Koravar's presence, stronger than ever before. "They're here. Earlier than we predicted. The outer system defenses have fallen." Maya's blood ran cold. "How long?" "Days, not months." The Void Hunters moved faster than even we anticipated. The other bridge bearers tensed, picking up echoes of the communication through their own awakening abilities. Jessica burst into the room, tablet in hand. Maya, we're getting weird readings from our deep space monitoring stations. Something's interfering with our signals out past Jupiter. They're not interfering, Maya said grimly. They're feeding. The Void Hunters consume information as well as matter. They're absorbing our satellite data, learning about us. Ray looked between them, confusion warring with the instinctive understanding the beacon was feeding him. What are Void Hunters? The end of everything, Diana answered, her engineer's mind processing the threat assessment. Unless we stop them. Maya placed the beacon in the center of their small group. The Navarans have hidden bases throughout our solar system. They're falling back to Earth now, but they're bringing something with them. Something they've spent thousands of years preparing. The integration technology, Marcus said, the knowledge flowing through their shared connection. The means to combine Navaran crystal tech with human innovation. But we're not ready, Aisha protested. We've barely begun to understand our abilities. Maya's expression hardened. Then we learn fast. Each of us was chosen for a reason. Diana, your understanding of complex systems. Marcus, your grasp of patterns and narrative. Aisha, your raw creativity. Ray. She looked at their newest member. Your ability to fix the unfixable, to make parts work together that shouldn't. And you? Ray asked. What's your gift? Maya touched the beacon, and it responded with a surge of power that connected all of them, showing them what she'd known since that first night in the museum. I'm the first bridge. The one who proves it's possible. Who shows the way for others to follow. The beacon projected a holographic map of the solar system, showing the wave of darkness approaching from the outer planets. Where it passed, information ceased to flow, matter itself seemed to thin and fade. The Void Hunters don't just destroy, Maya explained. They unmake. They feed on possibility itself, leaving only entropy behind. That's why they fear human creativity, why they've accelerated their attack. We represent everything they want to consume. Jessica checked her tablet again, her military training warring with the impossible data she was seeing. At their current speed, they'll reach Earth in 72 hours. Then we have 72 hours to prepare, Maya said. The Navarans are bringing their warriors, their ships, their technology. But we. She looked at each bridge bearer in turn. We have to show them how to use it in ways they've never imagined. Ray stepped forward, his natural confidence returning as the beacon's knowledge flowed through him. 72 hours to save the world. Wouldn't be the first impossible deadline I've met. Diana was already sketching diagrams in the air, Navaran symbols mixing with human mathematics. Their crystal tech responds to thought and emotion. If we could find a way to amplify that, to channel it through human neural networks. A bridge between bridges, Marcus mused. Using our connections to link their entire battle fleet into a single coordinated system. But unpredictable, Aisha added, her young mind racing with possibilities. Flowing like water, not marching like soldiers. Fighting with creativity instead of just force. Maya felt Koravar's approval ripple through the beacon. This was what the Navarans had bred for, had waited millennia to see, human minds taking their ancient power and transforming it into something new. First things first, Maya said. We need to get to the primary integration facility. The Navarans built it inside the moon itself, hidden from Earth's sensors for centuries. It's there that will make our stand. And if we fail? Jessica asked quietly. Maya lifted the beacon, and its light filled the room with fierce determination. Then we fail trying to save everything worth saving. Every story, every song, every dream humanity has ever had. We fight for the right to imagine, to create, to become more than what we are. The beacon pulsed in agreement, and Maya saw the same resolve reflected in the eyes of every bridge-bearer. The war for humanity's creative soul was about to begin, and they were the only ones who could win it. The integration. The Navaran base inside the moon defied human comprehension. Vast chambers of living crystal stretched for miles, their surfaces rippling with information and energy. Maya stood with her fellow bridge-bearers in the central integration chamber, watching as Navaran warriors merged their crystalline technology with hastily modified human equipment. "It's like they never thought to try it this way," Ray said, manipulating a holographic interface that merged Navaran crystal tech with salvaged smartphone components. "They've had this technology for millennia, but they only ever used it one way." Diana nodded, her fingers dancing through streams of data. "They're like master craftsmen who've perfected a single technique. We're coming in with finger paintings and crazy ideas, and somehow it's working better." The beacon floated in the center of the chamber, its light pulsing in time with the combined heartbeats of human and Navaran crews. Through it, Maya could feel the approaching void hunters, a wave of entropy that had already consumed Pluto's research outposts. Cora Varv materialized beside them, her iridescent form more solid here in the heart of Navaran technology. "Your modifications are unorthodox," she admitted, watching Ray splice crystal strands into a modified video game controller. "But undeniably effective." "That's because you guys think in straight lines," Aisha said, not looking up from where she was teaching a group of Navaran engineers how to interface their weapons with human social media algorithms. "You built all this amazing tech, but you never thought to make it fun." Maya smiled, remembering the breakthrough moment 2 days ago. They discovered that while Navaran crystal tech responded to thought and emotion, it responded even more strongly to imagination and play. The Navarans had always approached their technology with reverence and discipline. Humans came at it with jokes and memes and, "What if we tried this?" The results had been startling. Marcus had revolutionized their communication systems by introducing narrative structures into the signal patterns. Diana had transformed their defensive systems by applying chaos theory to crystal growth. And Ray had taken one look at their ship controls and decided they needed to be more like a video game. "Incoming transmission from Earth," Jessica called from her station. "The Void Hunters have passed Mars. Our outer defense platforms are ready." Those platforms had been Maya's idea, hundreds of satellites retrofitted with Navaran crystals, each one powered by a continuous feed of human creativity. Artists, musicians, writers, and dreamers across the globe had been recruited to pour their imagination into the network, turning Earth's orbital space into a web of creative energy that the Void Hunters would have to chew through. "Show me the fleet status," Maya commanded, and the beacon projected a detailed hologram of their combined forces. Navaran ships, sleek and crystalline, hung in formation alongside hastily modified human spacecraft. Each vessel now carried at least one bridge-bearer, linking the two technologies in ways neither species had imagined possible. "We've got something on long-range sensors," Diana reported, her expression grim. There's no other word for it. It's nothing. A wave of nothing, eating everything in its path." Through the beacon, Maya could feel it, an absence so profound it hurt to contemplate. The Void Hunters didn't just destroy, they consumed possibility itself, leaving behind spaces where nothing new could ever grow. "All bridge-bearers to your stations," Maya ordered. "Begin the integration sequence." Around the chamber, humans and Navarans moved with practiced precision. Each bridge-bearer took their position at a crystal node, connecting to their assigned ships and crews. The beacon's light spread through the networks they'd built, linking everything into a single, synchronized system. "Remember," Maya said, addressing both species through the shared connection. "We're not fighting like they expect. We're not fighting like anyone expects. Every ship, every weapon, every tactic, make it surprising. Make it creative. Make it human." Ray's voice came through the network, tinged with excitement. "Squadron 6 ready. My guys have figured out how to make their ships drift like street racers. The Void Hunters won't know what hit them. Squadron 3, ready, Diana reported. Defense systems integrated with social media emotional algorithms. We're literally going to hit them with the power of human drama. Squadron 1, ready, Marcus added. Our attack patterns are based on classic story structures. Let's see how the Void Hunters handle a plot twist. Squadron 4, ready, Aisha chimed in. We've got teenage rebellion weaponized and ready to deploy. Trust me, it's stronger than you think. Maya took her position at the central node, the beacon responding to her touch. Through their shared connection, she felt every ship, every crew member, every strand of crystal and circuit of human tech. More importantly, she felt the creative energy flowing through it all, humanity's greatest weapon against the entropy that sought to devour them. They're entering lunar orbit, Jessica announced. First visual contact in 3 minutes. Maya looked at Cora Var, who inclined her head in a gesture of trust. The Navarans had guided humanity's evolution, hidden among the stars and waited for this moment. But now they were ready to follow humanity's lead into battle. All ships, prepare for engagement, Maya commanded. Remember your training, but more importantly, remember to improvise. The Void Hunters feed on predictability. So let's show them something they've never seen before. The beacon's light surged through the network, carrying with it the combined creative potential of 2 civilizations. As the first wave of entropy appeared around the moon's edge, Maya felt a fierce pride in what they'd accomplished in just 3 days. They were humanity's last hope, armed with alien technology and crazy ideas. And they were about to teach the Void Hunters why you should never underestimate a species that turned, what if, into an art form. Symphony of Creation. The Void Hunters arrived as a wave of absolute darkness, a moving void that consumed light, matter, and possibility itself. Through the beacon's connection, Maya felt the collective intake of breath from both human and Navaran forces as they witnessed true entropy made manifest. Well, Ray's voice crackled through the network, that's definitely scarier than the training sims. Focus everyone, Maya commanded. Remember, they expect us to fight like soldiers. So let's fight like artists instead. The first wave of Void Hunter forces hit their outer defense grid, and stumbled. Instead of finding organized military resistance, they encountered a chaotic web of human creativity. Satellites pulsed with poetry and song, each one a beacon of pure imagination that disrupted the entropy field. They're trying to adapt, Diana reported, her hands flying over crystal controls. But they can't predict the pattern because there isn't one. Social media emotional spikes are totally random. Maya watched through the beacon as Squadron 6 executed rays, drift, maneuver, crystal ships spinning and sliding through space like dancers. The Void Hunters' energy beams hit empty space as Navaran vessels moved with the irregular grace of street racing videos. Squadron 3, execute Operation Drama, Maya ordered. Diana's fleet unleashed a wave of crystallized human emotion, drawn from millions of social media interactions. Joy, anger, love, hope, pure feeling given form through Navaran technology. The Void Hunters recoiled as their entropy field was disrupted by the chaotic intensity of human emotional expression. They're splitting up, Jessica reported from her command station. Trying to find a weak point in our formation. Perfect, Maya smiled. Marcus, time for your plot twist. Squadron 1 ships, which had appeared to be in disarray, suddenly moved with perfect coordination. The formation shifted like chapters in a story, each movement building on the last in a narrative the Void Hunters couldn't predict. Aisha, show them what teenage rebellion looks like. Squadron 4 dove straight at the enemy's center mass, their ships corkscrewing in deliberate defiance of tactical logic. The Navaran crews, guided by Aisha's strategy, channeled pure adolescent defiance into their weapons. Crystal beams laced with the raw energy of "you're not the boss of me" cut through entropy fields that had devoured civilizations. But the Void Hunters were ancient and powerful. They began to adapt, their darkness spreading to engulf human and Navaran ships alike. Maya felt lives blink out through the network as the enemy's overwhelming force pressed in. We need more, she realized. More creativity, more chaos, more humanity. Koravar finished, her iridescent form shimmering beside Maya. The beacon. It was never just a bridge between our peoples. It's a lens. Understanding flooded through Maya as the beacon pulsed in her hands. Everyone, fall back to the lunar base. I have an idea. As their forces retreated under heavy fire, Maya connected the beacon to the base's primary crystal matrix. Diana, I need you to hack Earth's communication networks. All of them. Social media, television, radio, everything. Already on it, Diana's fingers danced through holographic controls. But what are we broadcasting? Everything, Maya said. Every human story, every song, every dream and joke and crazy idea. The Void Hunters feed on entropy, on the death of possibility. So let's drown them in pure creation. Understanding rippled through the Bridgebearer network. Each of them reached out through their connections, gathering the creative energy of humanity. Art and music flowed through crystal ships. Mathematical theories and scientific hypotheses merged with children's drawings and late-night story ideas. They're following us, Jessica warned. Void Hunter fleet approaching lunar orbit. Good, Maya planted the beacon in the center of the crystal chamber. Because we're about to hit them with 7 billion imaginations at once. The beacon rose, drawing power from the combined creative output of an entire species. Every human on Earth, whether they knew it or not, was contributing to the greatest creative burst in history. Their hopes, dreams, and wild ideas flowed through Navaran crystal tech, amplified and focused through the Bridgebearers. Fire, Maya commanded. Pure creation erupted from the lunar base. A beam of crystallized human imagination, carrying the full weight of every story humanity had ever told, every song they'd ever sung, every what-if they'd ever wondered about. It struck the Void Hunters' entropy field like a supernova of possibility. The battle that followed defied description. Human creativity, channeled through alien technology, met the ultimate entropy in a clash that warped space itself. The Void Hunters fought back with the power that had consumed civilizations, but for the first time in their existence, they faced something they couldn't simply devour. Because humanity didn't fight with a single weapon or strategy. They fought with every idea at once, an infinite cascade of possibilities that renewed itself faster than it could be consumed. The more the Void Hunters destroyed, the more humans created to replace it. It's working. Aisha cried. Their entropy field is collapsing. Through the beacon, Maya felt the moment the tide turned. The Void Hunters, faced with an enemy that grew stronger the harder they fought, began to fracture. Their perfect entropy disrupted by the chaos of human imagination. Together. Maya called to both humans and Navarans. One final push. Every ship, every crystal, every bridge-bearer focused their energy through the beacon. 7 billion human minds reached out through the network, their collective creativity amplified by Navaran technology. The beam that erupted from the lunar base carried not just power, but possibility itself, the fundamental human belief that there was always another way, another story, another chance to create something new. The Void Hunters, creatures of ending, could not withstand such pure beginning. Their entropy field imploded, taking their fleet with it in a cascade of creative energy that lit up the solar system. In the silence that followed, Maya felt Koravar's presence in the network. The Navaran's thoughts carried a mix of awe and understanding. This, Koravar said, is why we chose humanity. Not for your weapons or your technology. But for your endless ability to imagine new possibilities. Maya looked around the crystal chamber at her fellow bridge-bearers, human and Navaran alike. So what do we imagine next? The beacon pulsed with potential, ready to bridge the gap between two species with endless new stories to tell.